Oh,
Hey!
oh,
We made
boy.
it!
look
Yeah.
who's here.
Who's here? Hey, you know what? To celebrate you guys and your Andor interviews, why don't we do this first?
We crossed
$9,000.
9,000!
That is so cool.
We are within $1,000 of hitting our goal, and we still have 4
Cool.
huge interviews or segments because you guys have 5 interviews technically within your segment. We are joined by Kerwin and Keith from Father Son Galaxy. How are you guys doing tonight?
Oh, we're fantastic. We could not wait for this day.
Wikipedia is here.
We are here.
Is in the house.
Yeah, so we were so excited. You know, we'll give we don't give a lot of behind the scenes of how things have been going, but I think it's safe to say that we had been going back and forth for a couple of weeks. We were getting all the schedule together, and I know we were thinking, I know Kerwin and Keith are going to come through with something great. And then literally, when did we drop it? Was it
Wednesday?
Tuesday?
Yeah.
Tuesday or Wednesday? Yeah, it was Tuesday because Wednesday you did the interview. Tuesday you let us know. Not only do you have one guest, but you have 4. Do you want to tell people who your 4 guests are?
Yes, we do.
You alternate and I'll start.
Okay, you can start. Go ahead, you start.
Diego Luna,
Adria Arjona,
Kyle Soller,
and Genevieve O'Reilly. We have the cast of Andor.
That's terrific.
Awesome.
It is so
Can't
great.
believe it.
So Keith, I've had the fortune of sort of seeing a little bit. How did it feel for you to? Because this is the second time you guys spoke to them because you were part of
the round table.
the round table. How did it? How do you do that twice in like 1 month, man? I mean, I'm impressed with you.
Yeah, I just feel like, holy Skittles, this is Diego Luna right now. What is happening?
That's great. That is
started
amazing.
from like a first episode in March 2021. Here we are with Diego Luna right in front of us.
It's
Y'all are
terrific.
doing something right and respectable, and something I love about y'all's show is the fact that it's this perspective we're about to hear. And what we're going to get next from y'all's segment is something I've been looking forward for everyone else to see throughout the entire day. This is something I've been like living to see the reaction and the comments for. Y'all have something truly special coming up next. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your Make-A-Wish connection.
Yes. First of all, I just want to thank Pete, Scotty, Nick. Thank you for having us on this Podathon. It's very important to us. We saw
you guys.
Podathon last year, and I was thinking to myself, I would like to be a part of this. And thank you for the invitation. So this is wonderful. And when I was when you invited us, the first person I thought about was my friend Larry. Larry and I go back almost 30 years ago. We're great friends, and his family was impacted by cancer. And they had the Make-A-Wish Foundation grant their wish. And I went to him and I said, well, Larry, we're going to be a part of this Podathon this year. We're raising money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Would you be interested in interviewing with us with your son, Caleb? And he said, absolutely. And we did that. And, we recorded that episode like 4 weeks ago. I have watched it over and over and over. It's such a special interview for us. It was very personal. I truly thank the Smith family for sharing their story. I hope people will listen to it and understand the importance of the Make-A-Wish Foundation and what a great cause this is, and the smiles that they bring to these children who are impacted, with illness.
Absolutely. Well, so let's share their story. Then when you come back, we'll talk for just a couple minutes, the 4 of us, before we turn you over to the good folks at Andor. But this story is tremendous. Scotty, if you got it handy, let's roll it.
Well, should we roll the Reagan clip real quick just to make sure we
we'll run that before Andor.
Oh, perfect. Will do. Let me get it queued up.
You got it.
Here we go, y'all. Cannot wait for everyone to see this. This is fantastic.
So great.
Larry and Caleb, how are you doing?
Good.
Pretty good. Pretty
All
good.
right.
We're excited to be here and share this moment with you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much for,
Yeah.
for being here with us. So Larry, you and I we've been friends for a very long time. We go back a long way, back to the 90s, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah, even before we had children.
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah. So tell me about your family.
Yeah, so we are a family of 4. So I have Caleb here, who's just turned 14. My daughter Sydney, who will be 17 in a couple weeks, and of course my wife Laverne. And my wife and Laverne and I, we've been together for over 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah, we met when I was 17. So we've been married for 21 years. So we've been together for a very long time.
So tell us about Caleb's diagnosis.
Yeah, so Caleb was diagnosed on September 6, 2018. And Caleb, tell them what you were diagnosed with.
I was diagnosed with stage 4 lymphoma.
Yeah. It was a large T cell lymphoma. And of course, it rocked us to the core. And we, of course, we were surprised and not really knowing what to do. So we, started just to, pray and it's been quite a challenge in the beginning, but things are a lot better now for us. Because it was stage 4, unfortunately, the lymphoma has spread to his back and formed a mass that was excruciatingly painful for him. So it was really hard for him to deal with that piece. But I'm glad he was diagnosed, and then we were able to get on top of things and start the chemo.
How did you hear about Make-A-Wish?
Our hospital, we were at Nemours Children's Hospital in Wilmington, and we've always heard about Make-A-Wish Foundation. We've seen ads and commercials, but we didn't really. Our thoughts wasn't really like, okay, let's see if we can get Caleb as a recipient in the Make-A-Wish. We had no idea. But it was the social workers who actually introduced us to the whole process and said Caleb would be a recipient of it.
What was your wish?
My wish was to be on the set of a Marvel movie.
About a year after that process, we start hearing back from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And then eventually they called me and they said, hey, do you guys have your passports? So luckily we had our passports, and they said, okay, well, we have an opportunity for Caleb's wish, which will be at a Marvel studio at the Black Widow set, and it's in London.
Wow.
So so he's like, oh, and then they said, oh, and it's in 2 weeks. So shout out to our employers who were, rather, flexible for us to take that time off in short notice.
Well, how was your trip to Europe?
Yeah, it was great. So we actually, before we got there, the travel we were able to go into a limo to the airport. So that was cool.
Yeah, big old stretch limo truck to the city airport.
And then the flight was like 7.5 hours long, which was crazy. But
it's a long flight, long. I guess one of the longest flights we've been on. Yeah.
More time to get them Biscoff cookies. Those are good.
Yeah. We do love those.
Ask for infinite refills and they'll give it to you.
Indeed, for a 7-hour flight, yeah.
And then so when we got there, we were jet lagged. We were like really jet lagged.
Yeah, we were. Yeah. But they had a whole itinerary for us, the plan for us. Caleb could only do like him and one parent, so all of us couldn't go to Pinewood Studios. So this is the Pinewood Studios. So on the day of the trip, we we took I guess it was shuttle or taxi. The taxi to the actual Pinewood Studio. It was a long ride.
It was terrible.
It was a long ride.
At least you got to go though.
So once we got there, they had a whole plan. I mean, I was just amazed to be on a studio grounds, number one. But they took us around and we saw where Harry Potter was filmed, 007. And then, of course, once we got to the Marvel studio side of things, it was just, I was just like, oh, wow. So they met with some of the studio stuntmen, who they worked with them and showed them some stunts.
And then there was the graphic design,
the
clothing,
how the costumes were being made. We went to the room, we met with the designers, and we got to see Taskmaster costume before, and this was all before the movie was released. And if you remember, this was before the pandemic. So there was a huge delay before it actually came out. So we've been waiting because we had to sign waivers. We couldn't really talk to no one. We couldn't mention anything on social media. We couldn't, we couldn't use our cell phones. So they had a photographer there taking video and pictures of us, but we couldn't do anything while we were there. We couldn't take our own pictures or anything. So we were waiting a long time to receive the photos because they, of course, released them to us after the movie was released, which what happened to be about 3 years later. So.
But then we got to like another room. I think that was like one of the main filming areas that they were filming, like a car scene. And then there was the two actors, Scarlett Johansson, and I can't remember what the other one was.
Yeah, I forget her name, but the actress who played her sister.
Yeah, her sister.
Yeah, so they came over and spoke.
Yelena, you mean?
Yeah, Florence.
Yeah.
Florence Pugh. Yeah.
Yep. So they came over and spoke to the kids, and then she walked right by me. I was just like.
Then we also the kids got to go on the camera and they were able to look through the camera and see what the filmmakers were shooting. Yeah, so Caleb, I think we shared a picture with you all of him behind the camera and taking a look at that. So it's pretty cool.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
Go ahead, Caleb. Anything?
And I also made Scarlett Johansson laugh.
Yes, he did.
All right. How about that? That's awesome. Now, is it the first time your family has been to Europe, London?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So it was just the excitement of even just going to London. They could have stopped there. But for us to be able to go there and then of course we saw the different sites. So we went on a boat tour across the Thames River. There's the tower of the bridge tower, the London Bridge Tower, which you see in Spider-Man. Was it No Way Home?
Yeah.
So we went under that, and of course Buckingham Plaza. The palace. Yeah, sorry. Buckingham Palace. We saw the changing of the guard. So it was just a great trip of just different things that we were able to see, and it was an all expense paid for a trip, thanks to the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
I would have asked where all this money comes from, but we know.
Yes.
But Caleb, how are you feeling now?
Now I'm feeling great, good. School has been, it's all been good. I've been working on my stop motion, and I've been drawing a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Caleb is 4 years now in remission. He's now part of this survivorship program they have at the hospital, where he has a survivorship nurse who's coordinating with other doctors. He now sees a cardiologist who just wants to make sure, because of all the bad and the strong chemotherapy that he was exposed to, that wants to make sure the heart is okay and that Caleb is keeping a good weight through this transition as he grows. So it's an awesome program. And being in the survivorship is really indication that we're kind of out of the woods now. So that's a blessing in itself. So.
And, did you ever think about just, as a family, starting a club to help, other cancer patients, kids who are going through chemotherapy, kids who are like you, just to start kind of a club, maybe at the hospital or at a rec center or something, just to help them go through it, let them know everything's going to be okay. Because, you survived it. You were a cancer patient, went to chemotherapy, and you came out okay.
That's a great question. Actually, I have a program with the hospital, but we haven't heard anything else about it. But there's a program where they asked Caleb to be a support person for someone else that has cancer. Remember they asked you?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. So, of course he volunteered. So we're just waiting on, the next move for that.
And then there was even a thing with the siblings for the kids with the cancer that my sister went to.
Oh, so it was a different program. Yeah. But yeah, great question, Keith. Yep. So he's on the list to help, or to be I forget what they call it, just someone that can assist and
them.
What they call it? Yeah.
Someone that can
comfort them, and they've been through the same process because it's a process, right? I often talk to the other parents. I remember when we were going through it, we were like, hey, this is one kind of community you never want to be a part of, right? To have your child facing mortality with a cancer diagnosis. But it's, we're here now. We're in the community, so we just have to make the best and uplift each other and, encourage each other. But the Make-A-Wish, again, is just programs like that and the social worker efforts and how, they helped. I mean, it's those programs that really help and can make things, because of your struggles, because of how difficult things are, they can just help you make it a little bit more smoother,
Yeah, that leads me into our last question. For someone who may not be familiar with Make-A-Wish Foundation, what they do, and why should they donate to Make-A-Wish Foundation, what would you say to those people to encourage them to donate?
Oh, yeah, I would say do it. Again, you don't know, you hear the ads, you see the commercials, you just don't know how much it can just make a kid smile. I mean, these kids are struggling. I mean, we were in the hospital and we would hear the alarms go off, code blue.
Yeah.
We can hear the kids, some kids that are unfortunately succumbed to their cancers. And that whole cancer floor is like, we walk by it just to, go to the laundry room, go to, the calf or go to the restroom. We see these kids are struggling out here. And if there's something they can just have to put a smile on their face, and just to make their day a little bit brighter, it's awesome. It means the world to them. Yeah, so I will always support Make-A-Wish Foundation. Caleb, do you have anything to add to that?
No, not really. Just, the kids should be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What would you tell them to donate for people who want to donate to the Make-A-Wish Foundation? Would you tell them to?
Oh, yeah, they should donate.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, you don't know, what will happen to your kid too. So you should always donate to it.
Yeah.
Because you never want to be in this situation.
Yeah. And having your wish fulfilled.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel?
It made me happy.
Yeah.
Wow. This is an incredible story. I thank you, Larry and Kayla, for sharing this story. I know it's not an easy story to share, but just thank you. And Kayla, we're just so glad that, you're healthy. And, it sounds like you and Keith have a lot in common. So we're going to need to catch up and keep in touch a little bit more.
Your wish was granted?
What do you think?
Wow.
It's such an amazing
Incredible.
story. I just honestly, I was telling the guys before, as I was editing some of the commercials and preparing, you can't watch this stuff and not feel like I gotta donate. I gotta donate. You know what I mean? So, Nick, Scott, you want to add anything before we move into the Andor segment of the day?
I can mention that whatever you contribute to, it could be anything between $5, $10, whatever you want to donate to this event. You know that it's going to a good place. Like
Absolutely.
on a deep level, you can tell people that they're friends with, had benefited from something that traumatic, and they got to benefit from getting their wish made. So just know that this doesn't go to some bank account somewhere that's used for research. It's actually used just to help bring joy to people that need it.
This is exactly it. And I love that Mark is here and commenting at exactly this moment. Mark Suter from Tarkin's Top Shelf, who was on earlier in the day with Becca and Kristen Baver and Kelly Knox. Mark is a Make-A-Wish survivor, is a Make-A-Wish child himself. Your story with Caleb, my friend Matt, Violet's story that we've run throughout the day. We have had multiple people in our chats throughout this day talking about how they were Make-A-Wish people. It touches more people than we realize, and it really does go a lot of distance. And I love what we've said throughout this week. For every one wish that gets granted, there are 3 wishes that go unfunded. And that's why we're here, because we want every wish to be funded, because we want everybody to get that same hope that we preach in Star Wars and we're preaching today with this.
Yeah. So, Keith Kerwin, when was the last time you spoke to Caleb?
That would have been, well, I've been speaking to his dad, actually. Just checking in on him, just making sure he's doing okay. I haven't spoken to Caleb directly, but they're doing fine. We're trying to get together for football season. Larry's a big football fan, so we're going to try to get together real soon.
Yeah, maybe get like some Buffalo Wild Wings.
How about that?
Like 2 years.
Nice. Sounds good.
So we're looking forward to that.
Well, there you go. So listen, we have been here all day, running up to this last quarter of the day, all trying to raise $10,000 for Make-A-Wish. As of this moment, we are at $9,292. We are very close to hitting that $10,000 mark. It would be awesome. If you're watching, there's 101 eyeballs on this right now. Actually, I guess
202. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of eyeballs. Listen, if you're watching and if you just want to throw another $5, $10 out there, we appreciate what you've done so far. If you can help, I would love to get us above 10,000 with a couple hours left in the day. Yeah, because what we're about to bring you is some amazing special footage of these 2 awesome dudes talking to the cast of Andor. So if you guys are ready, we'll roll that video. If you guys are good with it,
we're ready.
Yeah. And let me just say this too, Keith and Kerwin, where is your YouTube channel? Where can people find you? Because if you love this sort of, I mean, honestly, I'm not just saying this, and it sounds a little cheesy saying it to your face, but this is like this pure Star Wars. I have a 10-year-old son. So we have this love of Star Wars. If you want to watch this, you guys have a YouTube channel. Where is it?
Yes.
I've done this spiel 100 times. I'm dead serious because we've been going on for over 100 episodes.
Yeah, so take your time. You have to run through it. Go ahead.
We're on YouTube at Father Son Galaxy. So we changed our name from Father Son Star Wars Podcast to Father Son Galaxy. We're also on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Father Son Galaxy. We have a website, fathersongalaxy.com. Donate to our Patreon page if you feel like it. Check out our Spreaker site. And we're wherever you get your podcast if you want to listen to us.
Yes. We're on all audio streaming platforms, so you'll be able to find this.
And I can attest it is one of the best shows out there because it is truly pure. And, gotta love Keith. Keith's one of my favorite people. I teach kids Keith's age, and I get it, dude. You're awesome.
All right. Well, without further ado, if you can, just drop another $5 or $10. You get some more donation entries, and you're going to push us over 10,000. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Reagan to bring us into this really cool conversation with the cast of Andor, which drops on Disney Plus next week.
Whew, we have reached the final interview of the evening. I remember when this evening. Whew, we have.
I think we may have had a slight technical difficulty. So why don't we just do this, Scotty? Run the video of the Andor interview with Father Son Galaxy.
Hi, I'm Keith. This is my dad, Kerwin, and we're from Father Son Galaxy.
Hey, what's up, Keith and Kerwin?
Hello
Kyle.
again.
Nice to meet you, Kyle.
Very nice to meet you both. How you doing?
All right, we're doing fine. Thank you so much. Keith has the first question.
Yes, I do actually. So your connection with Star Wars is actually from your brother, right? You said you both watch The Empire Strikes Back almost every weekend. What is it about The Empire Strikes Back that you enjoy? Because it's my dad's favorite movie too.
Hey, well, that's a really great question. I think as a kid, when I was watching the original films, but specifically Empire Strikes Back, there was something about the impossible being possible. And I was taken away into this fantasy world, but it felt incredibly real. And it felt like, oh, that could happen one day. But it was also peopled with all these kind of extraordinary things. And then at the same time, you know, the battle scene on Hoth with the AT-ATs and stuff, like, I just loved that as a kid. I loved the snow. I thought, you know, it was an amazing new planet to kind of be a part of. And it's right in the middle of that original trilogy, right? So you're really getting deeper into understanding why these characters are the way that they are. And yeah, I think that maybe was the reason.
Okay. So you were born in Connecticut and you attended the College of William and Mary of Virginia, but then decided to go to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art in London. What made you want to change professions?
Great question. I'm still trying to figure that out, actually. I think I'd always done acting growing up, but I did it on the side. And then when I got into college, I wasn't focusing on it. And I think I just knew something was missing. And there was another route that I think I could maybe be taking. And I wound up doing a summer school in London at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. And honestly, Keith, it was like a light bulb universe moment. It was like somebody just went, you're in the right place. And I think specifically about that training was that it was a proper training. You get trained in Shakespeare and stage work and film work. And it was also very close to Europe. And I was always interested in European art. You know, I studied a lot of art history. And so that was a big draw for me to be closer to Europe. But then also European film. I had a real kind of like appreciation for that too. And so I thought, maybe if this feels right, then I'm like maybe in the right place to do this training where I can kind of just completely, you know, I can do a 180, and everything I've done up until now in my life will help me be an actor, but I'll take this turn off the highway and jump into the unknown and see where it takes me.
In a recent interview, you described Andor as a 70s spy thriller. Now, I wanted to know, is there a film in particular that you compare Andor to, a particular spy thriller from the 70s?
Oh man, I mean, I think not one in particular. I think the influences are far and wide with Tony Gilroy. I mean, he's kind of a master at blending different genres together. And so I wish that there would be one to say, but I think it's a number, man. I think it's got elements of all the good ones. Yeah.
I guess intrigue and espionage, not knowing who to trust.
Well, exactly, that everybody could be compromised and everybody is in this kind of like state of flux. There's a surveillance state, you know, people are figuring out who to trust, who not to trust. They're taking risks. They're figuring out whether they should sacrifice themselves for their beliefs. And that level of kind of grittiness and real like, oh gosh, like the kind of like fast-paced and yet also long drawn out kind of espionage tenor is kind of, I think it's totally in there.
Well, we are totally looking forward to Andor, and we wish you all the best. We can't wait. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you both so much. Pleasure
Sure.
speaking to you. Yeah.
It was good to see you again.
You too, man. Great to see you again.
Thank you. Take care.
You
Bye.
too. See ya.
Hello. I'm Keith, and this is my dad, Kerwin. We're from Father Son Galaxy.
Hi, guys. I've met you before.
Hello.
I remember you.
Hi.
Yes.
Hi, Keith.
Yes. I didn't get the opportunity to meet you, so good to see you. Thank you so much, Genevieve.
Nice to see you.
All right.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you, who were some of the actors that inspired you when you began your career?
Well, that's such a lovely question. There are many, many female actors that I really looked up to as a young actor. As a young actor, I was living in Australia, so there are a bunch of Australian actors. Kate Blanchett, Judy Davis, Helen Mirren, Judi Dench, Jacqueline McKenzie, Rachel Griffiths. I have so many women that I look up to as an actor. That list, we would run out of time if I said all of them. But I would also have to, just because we're talking about Star Wars, I have to name Carrie Fisher, because her work as Princess Leia really inspired me as not just a young actor, but also as a young girl.
Okay. Are there any actors you'd like to work with in the future?
I mean, all of them. We are so lucky now to see so many different actors in on television, in film, and also on stage. I have great respect, deep and great respect for many of my fellow actors. So I would love to continue to work with people who work hard and are collaborative and who are generous and who are kind and charismatic people and who are interested in doing great work.
Mm-hmm.
Genevieve, in Andor, Mon Mothma will be carrying a heavy burden in trying to form a rebellion. Will we see her strike a life balance? In other words, will she have a personal life where, she's experiencing dark times, but also experiencing some happiness and laughter in her life?
That's a really interesting question. I think we meet her at a moment where there's not a lot of happiness. Oppression breeds rebellion. That's where we begin, Andor. Many different characters in many different ways are oppressed by a dictatorship, by an oppressive regime. And Mon Mothma works within that Senate. She works within the Imperial Senate. But she really believes in democracy. She really believes in people having a voice. But she can't even create a space for that anymore. Palpatine's government is such a dictatorship that she has to step outside it, that she has to risk everything that she's ever worked for and all of who she is in order to build that rebellion. So if there's comedy, it'll be dark comedy. Let's just say, if there's light, I'm not sure there's a lot of light in there.
We are looking forward to Andor. We love your performance as Mon Mothma. You will always be known to us as Mon Mothma. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much. And it's so lovely to see you. Thank you for your questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Hi.
Hello. So I'm Keith, and this is my dad, Kerwin. We're from Father Son Galaxy.
Hi, Adria.
Hi, how are you?
Hi,
Thank you for
Christopher.
saying my name so beautifully.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Yes.
So nice to meet you.
So I have the first question, which is, how did you find out about the role in Andor, and how long did it take you to get, the offer to play Bix Colleen in Andor?
I love that question because it's a crazy one. I auditioned knowing that it was Star Wars. I feel like you could kind of sense that in the script. You're like, oh, this feels like it's in a galaxy far, far away. There's no way that it's not. And I read for it, and then I went in. They tested me in London. I flew to London, and I'm so nervous. I'm a huge fan of Star Wars, and as a fan, I really didn't want to mess it up. And I went in. I did the scene with Diego, and before that, I call my mom, and I'm like, Mom, I don't know if I should go. I'm so scared. I was in Paris at the time. It was middle of the pandemic. I'm like, I don't know what this COVID thing is. What is it? And my mom told me, Adria, you could be a swan and swim in a lake of poo-poo and not be stained. Let the force be with you, my daughter. And she hung up the phone on me, which, if you know, moms don't hang up the phone ever. They like to stay on the phone for hours. And I was so impressed by that. I was like, I guess I'm going. I ended up going to London. I was nervous. I sit down. I have the scene with Diego, the first scene that you see Bix in. I have that scene with him. Tony tells him to leave the room. And then I have another scene. And then he stays quiet in the room. And I'm like, I messed up. I completely messed up. And then he looks at me and goes, welcome to Star Wars. So there was it was like, wait, what? I'm in? I got the job? And it was so confusing. And I feel like he changed my life within 5 minutes. And that's really all it took. And he, when you audition for Star Wars, there's so many protocols that you have to go through. And he just does things different.
That's an incredible story. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. So Star Wars is about family and community. You know that as a Star Wars fan. Could you provide any examples about how the people of Ferris have come together to support each other during a time of war?
Yeah, I feel like in Ferrix, there's a camaraderie. There's you can tell by when you're in Ferrix that there's no socially, economically, they're all the same. No one's better than anybody else. No one's succeeding more. It's about exchanging. It's about partnership. It's about camaraderie, right? And I think that when they're at a cusp of a revolution, which is at the point in history where they are at, I think everyone their moral compass sort of starts getting questioned, right? It's like, am I going to be part of the movement? Am I not going to be part of it? Am I going to be brave? Am I going to where do I stand, or where's my place in this? And I think you don't mess with people from Ferrix. You just don't. They're too tight. And I think there's a deep thing culturally that if you're from Ferrix, you're from Ferrix. You do things different. You act things different. You don't take a no. You were very against oppression because they're so used to being kind of ignored by the empire that now, if they come in, they're like, wait, hold on a second. This doesn't feel right. And they're secretive, and they have a way of communicating that no one kind of can figure out, not even the empire.
Can you tell us a little more about your character and Andor's character?
Yeah, Biggs is an old friend of Cassian Andor's, and you can feel it. Like when they first meet, you feel that there's tension, you feel that there's history. Trust has been broken and rebuilt, and Biggs is finally she's the owner of her sow yard. She's a boss woman. She is, she loves her job. She's in a relationship with someone that feels safe. It's like the love of your life and for your life. This is for her life. He's good, stable, and then she's hopped off the Cassian roller coaster because he always leaves, right? He comes in and then leaves, and then when he does come, it's like, oh man, he's here again. And she's a good friend, and she loves him dearly. And maybe if timing would have been on their side, maybe they would have been a wonderful couple. Who knows? And when he asks for her help, she says yes, knowing that it's for her own detriment. And I think that's when Bix realizes the definition of bravery. Bravery means putting someone else's needs sometimes in front of yours, especially in this moment.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but your fan base is already growing. We are rooting for you. We love the character, what we've seen so far in the trailer. So we can't wait to learn more about you. And we wish you the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. It was lovely talking to both of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks,
Have a nice day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Yes, hi. We are Kerwin and Keith Yard of Father Son Galaxy, a Star Wars podcast.
Oh, this is so nice. My best interview.
I have this. Look.
Diego.
Man.
Yes.
Oh, for a moment I thought he didn't have a leg.
No, it's all intact. You want to hold it up again? Just
I was like, what did you do? What happened for Cassian? Oh, I'm so glad you have it. Nice to meet you both.
Thank you. This is truly an honor to meet you.
So, as you know, we're only a few days, like a week away from the premiere of Andor. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling excited. I am pretty sure we've done everything we can to deliver a great show. We worked really hard to get here. We paid so much attention to detail, and we spend hours and hours just trying to do something that would please the fans out there. And I think we got to a good point. Like it's amazing people working behind this show. The guy writing and directing is amazing. All or producing, I would say. The directors were great people. The way the series looks, all the designs behind they're amazing. And we have a fantastic cast. You'll see so many characters you don't know. And a few that you know, obviously, from Rogue One, but many that you don't know that will make this series very interesting to watch.
While we were doing your research on you, we understand that you were a child actor. How did you get started in acting?
I started acting when I was 6 years old, really, really young. My father is a set designer, my mom a costume designer. So I grew up in theater, and I started working since I was very young. You know, I kept going to school, but in the afternoons I would attend theater and be there close to my father's work and trying to belong to that world of storytellers and the troupe of theater that was always fun to be around with and exciting.
And I understand now that you are also a director.
Yeah, I direct and I produce and I act. I just like film and theater a lot, and I like working from different positions, you know. I think as an actor, you also sometimes need perspective, and directing is the most challenging, you know, journey I've had, but it's the most rewarding one. And there comes the moment where you want to tell your story, you know. As an actor, you're a tool always for someone else's perspective, point of view, you know, and it's great to be an actor and contribute and help someone tell the story they want to tell. But sometimes, and also if you start, if you've been doing it for many years, there's the moment when you think you're ready to tell your own story, and I've had the privilege of exploring that too.
Yes, all right.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that you've been acting since you were 6 years old, and Cassian's been in the rebellion since he was 6 years old.
Yeah.
Oh, you got that one.
Good point.
That's true, man. You're right. You're right. Gladly, my fight has been much more joyful than Cassian's. You know, mine is about creativity and collaboration, and Cassian's is about surviving and fighting for freedom. You know, but yes, you're right. We started young. I don't recommend starting young. To be honest, I think. I mean, now that I have kids, I'm making sure my kids can be kids as long as it's needed, and sometimes working doesn't let you, suddenly it challenges you as if you were an adult, and that's not correct. And definitely for Cassian, I mean, he had to, he didn't had a childhood, that was taken away from him by the Empire, and that is something that makes this character find that kind of like commitment, with the cause and with the rebellion, because he went. I believe that if he thinks about change, he thinks about a galaxy where kids can be kids, and not have to become adults and fight anything, but just enjoy life,
Well, we are so looking forward to Andor, and this is such a pleasure talking to you, Diego Luna. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Holy Skittles. I can't believe this is happening.
Oh,
Dream come true for all of us. So thank you so much.
This interview has been so special, and I'm so glad to see both of you, and it's nice to see you guys sharing a moment like this, and thank you, man. You're the only person. I've been doing promotion for this show now for more than months, about 2 or 3 months. No one has asked about me starting to work at 6 years old, and Cassian talking about being part of a fight since he was 6 years old. That's a pretty cool question you came up with, man.
Thank you so much once again. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Unreal.
That was amazing.
Holy cow.
Fantastic. So cool. So, guys, we have got a couple minutes before we move on to the next group. Before we do that, I got to hear from you. What was your favorite part of those 4 interviews?
Well, the interesting thing is that we shot the Diego Luna interview first. And, we weren't expecting that reaction from him. Like, as soon as he saw it on the screen, his face just lit up, and we just lit up. And, you could tell in the interview, it was pure joy on both sides. So it was wonderful. And, everyone is so nice. Kyle and Adria and Genevieve, they're wonderful to talk to. They feel very personable when you're speaking with them. So, and, even though it was a short interviews, I think there was a lot to learn from each one of them.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys both for being a part of Podathon, and thank you for your amazing interviews. Keith, you got anything you want to say? You want to tell people to donate? You want to?
Yes, please donate to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. For the Caleb story, you can see how much that makes an impact on these kids when you donate. You got to see firsthand what your donations do. So, please donate. Help us reach that goal of 10,000. And then I can probably have like a party and stay up till 9 playing Minecraft.
There we go.
Right?
There we go.
Oh, he's negotiating on top of everything.
When we reach 10,000, absolutely.
So let it be written. So let it be done, fellas.
That's it.
That's it.
Hey, live recording, so you can't deny that.
Hey, one last thing. I don't know if you saw it through the chat throughout the whole interview, but there are calls upon calls, and I'll be the first in line for a Holy Skittles Father Son Galaxy shirt. So we got to get that going.
Holy Skittles.
We got to get those going.
That's awesome stuff. Y'all brought so much to this event, more than you realize, and we are beyond thankful for your contributions, and of course everyone's. But y'all are amazing. We really appreciate y'all.
We're so honored to be here. Just thank you so much for this opportunity. Again, the Make-A-Wish Foundation is a gem. Please continue to donate. It is for a worthy cause. Just thank you for your time. Thank you.
I have no bedtime tonight.
Yes.
Thank you so much, guys, and we'll talk to you again very soon.
Okay. Thanks again.
Bye.